I mean, was this like assault on Precinct 13? Was Ethan Hawke there? It sounds like they were shot at the police station.
Right. I'm trying to find out from spokesperson Tom Ahern if they were walking into the police station and it was a drive-by shooting because they later recovered a vehicle on 89th Street.
Well, yeah, suspect vehicle.
Suspect vehicle.
So that sounds like a drive-by. I mean, I don't know, but it sounds like it.
Well, clearly they were targeted, and they've all been taken to Christ Hospital. And
if that's what it turns out to be, so now you have people emboldened to do a drive-by shooting
federal agents
of a police precinct.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened before. It's not unheard of, but my God, complete lawlessness in Chicago. And we're going to be on Nightly News again and World News Now again. Chicago, another black eye for them. But our thoughts and prayers are with the two agents and the police officer, obviously.
Where does this all start going wrong? Perhaps in school. I mean, first with the family or lack thereof, and then secondarily perhaps in school. You've heard of safe spaces, and you've heard of no safe spaces, the Dennis Prager, Adam Carolla documentary. But safe spaces, that's so passe. You know what we need now in the government school systems?
What?
Brave spaces.
Oh, really? A brave buddy bench or something?
Brave spaces. This little YouTube how-to create a brave space is pretty instructive. First, you'll hear from an L.A. School teacher who's fifth grade. That's her charge, fifth graders, 9 and 10-year-olds.
Not only do we have events that are constantly occurring in our society that students are very aware of, whether you are aware that they are aware of it or not, and those conversations should be happening in our classrooms.
Trust is so important. If they tell you something and they know it didn't get out into the community or the principal's office, then they know they can trust you, and they are more than willing to share more in class.
The second voice you heard is a high school teacher in South Carolina who works in an alternative school for kids who've been suspended or expelled. We'll get back to her. The fifth grade teacher, she's white. Her kids are BIPOC. What to do?
All right, so we have this word called microaggressions. Has anyone ever heard this word before? You can just show me with
I do teach at a school where most of my kids are BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous people of color. I am always feeling uncomfortable because I grew up as a white person who never had to talk about race. That's something that as a white person and as other white educators who may be listening to this, we just have to be okay with.
Mm-hmm. She's making up for lost time. I grew up as a white person. Are you still a white person? And then you heard her beginning the tutorial on microaggression. Here's how this goes.
Okay.
Break down the word. What does micro mean? What does aggression mean? Then combine it. What does microaggression mean? And then let me add a little bit to the definition.
So let's write this in. So microaggression is a small act toward someone or something that is based in stereotypes, bias, emotion. So everyone write that in. So you can see how our words that we've been learning, like stereotypes and bias, are coming together to look at microaggressions.
Too bad Huxley's not around. She would be a great archetypal character in one of his novels. Going back to the South Carolina teacher, Sherry Revels Davis, again, who she teaches expelled and suspended kids, alternative school. And she's drawing from the book Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, another propaganda track, all identitarian all the time. Teaching social justice, that's her charge.
The second semester is when I start bringing content in that reflects their life. And that's usually social inequalities.
Mm-hmm. focus on social inequalities. This is where equity comes in, and how you're a victim and other people are your oppressors. And then this Reynolds's book. There's 3 neighborhood rules. One of them is no crying, and she disputes that rule. You can cry if you want to. It's your party, and you can cry if you want to.
Thank you.
And the second one is no snitching. That one she takes seriously.
Really?
That has application to her classroom.
All right. Get revenge. When we talk about getting revenge, what is it that typically you think about getting revenge? You all said that you participate in some type of physical activity. If you lose, are you going to go out and get revenge?
Basically, I come back more harder.
So one of the key things we're saying is revenge usually takes a negative connotation. Now, we are going to take revenge and look at it a little bit differently, in that in this class, verbally, when somebody doesn't agree with you, you're going to get revenge on them, right? And in doing so, when you get revenge, you're going to come back at them with facts. All right? You're going to come back at them strategically.
Oh, that wasn't it. But anyway, the no snitching, she says no snitching, which you heard her say at the outset. No snitching applies to this classroom too. Whatever happens in this classroom stays in this classroom. Sure, because you don't want the indoctrination to get out. And then after you're done with one of those teachers, if you're lucky enough, you can go to Vanderbilt University and participate in, maybe you're from Santa Claus, Indiana. You get a scholarship to play football at Vanderbilt.
Oh, hey, Jay Cutler.
Right.
Thank you.
You marry Kristen Calvieri, your life falls apart, but
You
you
get
get
divorced.
some of her money, and so it all works out. But anyway, you go to Vanderbilt, and then you participate one of the best universities in the country, reputedly, and you attend workshops about inclusive excellence that focus on everyday bias and unconscious bias as part of a collaborative effort to develop unconscious bias educational opportunities for students as well as faculty and staff. It's the circle of life when you're a social justice, trained to be, indoctrinated to be a social justice activist. For more on all this, pleased to be joined again by Mark Bauerlein, professor of English at Emory University, senior editor at First Things, firstthings.com, and author of The Dumbest Generation, How the Digital Age Stupefies Young Americans and Jeopardizes Our Future, or Don't Trust Anyone Under 30. Don't trust anyone under 30. That's a good rule of thumb, too. A good neighborhood rule. Professor Bauerlein, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
So from safe spaces to brave spaces 2.0 when it comes to the Marxist indoctrination, identitarian Marxist indoctrination of kids starting in the primary grades.
These people are the ruination of this country. I mean, first of all, in the way they speak, someone has to give them lessons in oral presentation. This millennial tick, I was raised as a white person, and I don't know. There's just simply the obnoxiousness of the cadence and the enunciation is enough for me to pull my child out of that classroom. But, here's the real sad thing. Dan, Amy, we have a population of low-income kids going through elementary school, middle school, high school, and they're not learning to read and write and do basic math. The gap, actually the racial achievement gap between black and white on test scores in reading and math, it closed significantly in the 70s and 80s, into the 90s. It has been stalled. There is still a huge gap between black and white and between low income and upper income. Do you think these lessons are going to help these kids be able to write a decent essay in high school? Do you think that this is building the knowledge that they need to go into a workplace and function as a member? I mean, the idea of microaggressions. What are you asking people to do? You're asking them to become paranoid. You're asking them to take the ordinary frictions of life in a pluralistic society, in a society with free speech. People annoy you all the time. I'm going to get on the bus in a minute. I'm in Manhattan right now. I'm going to be annoyed by 5 different people as I'm heading up First Avenue. You know, you live with it.
Yeah, but people.
This is a cost.
I know,
of functioning.
That always.
You are coaching sensitivity to pathological levels.
Yeah. They always say, life is made of people you don't normally like, but you have to learn to get along with anyway. But this generation is being coddled and being shoved down their throat these social justice issues instead of math and arithmetics and reading and writing.
They're not happy either. I mean, this is the thing. This whole woke craze is a joyless, vindictive enterprise. These people, I mean, look, they get rid of jokes. They don't want any jokes because the joke might come at some person's expense. They are no fun. And, people don't want to live in a society that's no fun. I mean, you mentioned the dumbest generation. These are people who were 15 years old in 2008, these teachers, and were living so they could go into their bedrooms at age 15. They had their Facebook and Instagram. They had the smartphone was coming out. They had the video games. They had the TV going, and it was a wonderful place to be. They had all their wonderful connections. They didn't learn very much history. They didn't read very many good novels. They didn't listen to decent music. They didn't get the equipment to function as adults in the real world. And so what are they now? They're sitting there at 25 and they're resentful. They are bitter because life isn't the wonderful place that they thought it was when they had their little bedroom utopia there. Now they're going to make people pay for that.
Right. In addition to being joyless and vituperative, as you're describing, the other thing about that too, the whole idea here is to be always poised to try to jackpot your neighbor, to cast your neighbor in a negative light, to hurt your neighbor. So, as is customary here, for all their sort of really almost demonic talk of preventing hurt and loving one another, they're really nasty, mean-spirited, uncharitable people.
Oh, this is a movement with no mercy. There is no forgiveness among these people. You are going to pay for your crimes. Slavery ended quite a while ago, but hey, nope. The penance, we're not even close to finishing the penance that we need for slavery and Jim Crow. I mean, you did that athlete. Remember the athlete 2 years ago who won the Heisman Trophy? And on the day he was given the Heisman Trophy, someone dug up a tweet that he wrote when he was 15 years old. That it was some gay joke or something. 15 years old, you're going to ruin the greatest day of his life. You are going to get 15 years old. But these people are ruthless. They will take any opportunity to take down someone they feel is a victimizer. Well, and when we're dealing with microaggressions, all of them are victimizers.
The other thing, too, you see is you cannot describe to them what they explicitly say they're doing. And this is the case of Rachel Nichols, the ESPN reporter. She makes a hot mic comment where she says this black ESPN reporter is only being signed to the NBA Finals to advance the cause of diversity. And there's a hue and cry. What are you trying to say? Wait a second.
It's just
ESPN's brass says that their mission is diversity, that they're focused on diversity. They want more diverse workplace and on-air talents and so on and so forth. So all Rachel Nichols is doing is repeating what the stated position of the corporate leadership of ESPN is, and now she's got to apologize. She's taken off the finals beat because you're not supposed to call it out even when they call it out.
I look in the eyes of the accusers, and when they've got someone on his knees begging for forgiveness, apologizing, I mean, can you just see the glee in the eyes of the accusers. I mean, they are intoxicated with the power of humiliating others. To preside over a struggle session, I mean, if you are a 19-year-old college student and you're black and you march with 3 others down to the president's office, and the college president looks at you with fear in his eyes, that is a good feeling. And it's addictive as well. They want to keep doing it.
That's exactly what Shelby Steele memorialized in White Guilt at Coe College, and that's when he knew, the power of race and what exactly the direction that the civil rights movement was going to go, that he ultimately decided he wanted no part of. But that's exactly. So this has been, afoot for 50 years. People just taking notice of it in the last 5 or the last 5 minutes, but it's been going on for 50 years in college campuses, and now it's everywhere.
Well, what I want to do is when Nicole Hannah-Jones gets her tenure at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and that's a public university, which means her salary is part of open record. I want to know how much she's getting paid and how many courses, how many students she is going to have to teach each year. I will not be surprised if she makes $175,000 for teaching 2 or 3 courses. Meanwhile, you've got hundreds of adjuncts and lecturers and graduate students at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, who are doing labor, teaching entire courses and getting paid $3,000 per course.
Well,
just talk about how she's a victim. Let's talk about her being a victim.
Just updating that. So Nicole Hannah-Jones, this is great because she just played North Carolina.
Oh, she played him like a fiddle. Now she's going to go to Howard.
She's going to be the chair of, like Ibram Kendi went to Boston University with some made up, adjunct institution that he's lording over. So she's going to be the Knight chair of, racial demagoguery and gaslighting history at Howard University. But
okay, so
but
she got a raise, I'm sure, in the process.
They did approve her and make the offer, correct?
Absolutely.
Yep, they did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, she totally
played him.
Totally played him. I mean, it was just perfect because this is. I mean, North Carolina, like as you were talking about this vaunted institution. I mean, they're just pathetic. They're feeble, and someone like Nicole Hannah-Jones, a professional huckster, she smells it right away. She seizes on it, and she leverages them beautifully. Really, if you like hustling.
And let's be good game theorists here and say that if the incentives are there, people are going to do it, and so this is going to happen again and again.
He is Mark Bauerlein, professor of English at Emory University, senior editor of First Things, the book, The Dumbest Generation, How the Digital Age Stupefies Young Americans and Jeopardizes Our Future, or Don't Trust Anyone Under 30. Professor Bauerlein, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Mattress Firm's 4th of July sale has been extended. Hurry in and get a king bed for the price of a queen or a queen for a twin. Plus, get a free adjustable base with qualifying Sealy purchase. Or save $500 on all Tempur-Pedic Breeze mattresses. With our low price guarantee, you can rest assured you'll get the best bed at the best price. Only at Mattress Firm. Offer valid with qualifying purchase. Restrictions apply. Valid at participating locations only. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/sale.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters for 30 years.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Chicagoland area attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com. 4320 Winfield Road, Suite 200, Warrenville, Illinois, 60555.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing